Is there a problem in any way, do you think, that in a sense he kept that entirely to himself, so the Church very clearly has had no time to prepare right across the globe?
It will be difficult, I suspect, in the functioning of the Church, because we're not used to this kind of thing. And the successor to Pope Benedict will be in a really unusual situation. If he's a pope who is in the mould of Pope Benedict, will he be seen as the former pope's puppet? If he's the person elected by the cardinals, if he's a very different sort of pope, might there be people who will whisper, who will cause there almost to be people who are sort of responding to the old pope, seeing him as the real pope? It's very hard to imagine how this will work out. I'm hearing news from Rome that Pope Benedict is saying that he's going to, or at least his spokesman is saying, that Benedict will remain in the Vatican with enclosed nuns, with a life of prayer. I would have thought for the next pope it would be better if he spent a life in prayer with enclosed nuns some distance away. If he's around in the Vatican, whether he's enclosed or not, he may well be seen as the real pope, and that will be very hard.
One of our earlier contributors was talking about the new pope and saying they needed to be able to encapsulate continuity and change at the same time. Is that possible? Does anybody spring to mind?
Well, all popes are supposed to do that, and they do it with rather different means and have rather different achievements. Pope John the 23rd was a man that most people would now say was more about change as well as continuity. With Pope Benedict, many people in the Church have felt that he represented tradition and perhaps with an eye on the past as much as an eye on the future and the present. There are people who are likely candidates who've been talked about. Although people are incredulous that Pope Benedict has resigned, remember he's a very elderly man. So in my recent visits to Rome in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of talk there about who his successor would be, because people thought that he would possibly not be with us for much longer, that nature would take its course and he would die, and then there would have to be a successor. So there's been plenty of chat recently about people who might be contenders. Cardinal Angelo Scola in Milan, Cardinal Christoph Schönborn in Vienna, Cardinal Marc Ouellet, who's French-Canadian now, working in the Vatican. These are all people who are contenders. They, of course, are all Europeans. Perhaps this time the Church might look further afield to, say, Latin America or Africa.